Hi there, Jake from ATG. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all the rest of it. We've had a couple of messages, emails, comments, etc. come in about superhero movies and the superhero genre. More specifically, why we don't see certain characters like Wolverine appear in an Avengers film, for example. Now, apart from the fact, obviously, they're X-Men and Avengers, the crossover is obviously something to debate. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over very briefly what I know to be true about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, first of all, what I want to say is DC-wise, Warner Brothers own the rights to all of the TV and film stuff for DC. Hence the reason why a lot of their stuff is obviously very streamlined. In 1978, Superman came out, and it really put DC up there as a big player in the movie scene. Followed, of course, by two sequels, one very good, one not so good, and of course all the Batman films. Now, I want to start back in 1996. Marvel started to lose money. They owed millions of dollars various places, and they had some bad debts, and they obviously faced bankruptcy. What they decided to do is they decided to sell their intellectual property. Spider-Man and Ghost Rider, plus all related characters, went to Sony. X-Men, the Fantastic Four and Daredevil went to 20th Century Fox. Namor and Hulk went to Universal. Punisher and Man-Thing went to Lionsgate. And everything else, mainly the Avengers, so Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, stayed at Marvel, which obviously later became Marvel Disney. Now, Marvel were very, very clever with this. What they did is they worked into the contracts that if a company didn't make a new film within every 4 years, the film rights would return to Marvel. Hence why recently we've seen Daredevil, Punisher, and most recently on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Ghost Rider released on TV or on Netflix under the name of Marvel. So let's talk about the X-Men. The X-Men have been on the film scene since 2000, when X-Men 1 very first came out. Now, Fox owned the rights to these guys, so they have provided us with film after film to satisfy our need. Some of the films are good, some of them not so good. Personally, I've enjoyed all of them. We'll talk more about on that a little bit later. But also, they own Deadpool. Now, unless you live under a rock, you know how well that deal has worked out for them. Let's not mention the Wolverine Origins Deadpool, of course. They also own Cable, who we know will be making his debut in Deadpool 2. But they own Deadpool and Wolverine. I mean, come on guys, everybody knows that the cinematic collaboration between Jackman and Reynolds in their respected characters will just blow up the comic book movies as we know it. Again, let's not mention the original Wolverine Origins. So, X-Men and Mutants. Now notice how in Marvel films they never actually once mention the actual word mutant. I mean, some guy's probably employed somewhere by Fox to watch all of the Marvel films and listen out for that one particular reference. I mean, personally I think that'd be a brilliant job. But Marvel have actually been very smart, and although we know at times they mean mutant, it's never actually said. Lastly, they own the Fantastic Four and Silver Surfer. The original two movies, in my opinion, weren't actually that bad, but the last movie, I mean, come on Fox, just let them go already. I mean, this particular deal makes me a little bit sad. I mean, the Fantastic Four being Stan Lee's first superhero team, it would actually be quite nice to see them back at Marvel and tied in with the Avengers and now also Spider-Man. A little bit more on him later on. So hang on, what about this new show, Legion? Now, for anybody that doesn't know, we've got a new show coming out called Legion, and this is based around the son of Charles Xavier. It's the first TV show that's related to the X-Men film series, so that's a really big deal. Well, Fox only actually own the film rights to these characters. So what Marvel have done is they've come to some kind of agreement to collaborate with them on a TV show. So yes, Marvel are finally going to get to say mutant, although it's only on this particular TV show. Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver are mutants, but they're also founding members of the Avengers, so this is one area that's a little bit of a blurred line between the studios. Hence why we have the two Quicksilvers in two movies released at pretty much the same time. Both Fox and Marvel own the rights to them, so they sort of share the intellectual property of them and kind of ignore what the other one is doing. I mean, which Quicksilver was better? I mean, that in itself is a debate for a complete other time. Hulk. So this again is a bit confusing. Yes, Marvel own him, he is theirs, hence why we see him in the Avengers films and of course soon to appear in Thor Ragnarok. But Universal actually reserved the rights to release any standalone movies, hence why there seems to be solo movies for all the other Avengers like Iron Man, Thor, Captain, as well as people like Doctor Strange, Black Panther, but not the Hulk. Now don't get me started on why Hawkeye should have his own movie, but again that's a completely different debate. Now they also have the rights to Namor. Now Namor's a tricky one, and I personally believe that if he was more pop culture popular, then it would probably be a bigger case than this whole Spider-Man thing. More on him later. So, Namor is known as the First Mutant. He also has played alongside the Fantastic Four quite a bit. But the rumour is that he's still owned by Marvel, like the Hulk. I mean, personally, I'm in no rush to actually see him in his own standalone film, but it would be cool to see him in something somewhere. Spider-Man. Now this is the big one. Marvel sold Spider-Man to Canon Films for a supposed $225,000, and with that they got to control all of the rights produced in Spider-Man films. Marvel didn't have that kind of money to compete with other superhero movies that there were at the time, things like DC, Superman and Batman. So what they did is they looked at somebody else to do it for them. By 1990, Canon Films, however, were going bankrupt, so they sold off the rights to Coralco Films and they hired James Cameron to do a Spider-Man film. Now this was the movie we never actually got to see. Straight after Terminator 2, Cameron wanted to do this version of Spider-Man, and supposedly Stan Lee loved the script. I mean, there were loads of good ideas, but casting rumours of Arnold Schwarzenegger as Dr. Octopus, and Edward Furlong as Peter Parker, and also Leonardo DiCaprio as Harry Osborn, so basically the cast of Terminator 2 and Titanic. I mean, I'm not sold on it personally, and I don't think it sounds very appealing. But also it was going to be much darker, there was going to be swearing, and they were going to aim for an R rating. However, that studio as well were also heading towards bankruptcy. But at the same time, Marvel filed for it as well. This is what we spoke about earlier. So where the rights to Spider-Man would have reverted back to them, they instead seemed to kind of hang around in limbo for a while. Marvel thought that they had the rights, but it seemed that also a number of studios, people like MGM, Columbia, Warner Brothers, to name a few, also thought that they owned the rights as well. Now this took 4 years of legal battles, and it turned out that in fact Columbia, who were also tied to Sony, actually owned the rights. Now Sony went on to make 5 movies before that famous email leak that put Sony in a position where they decided to work out a compromise with Marvel. The way the deal broke down was that Spider-Man is allowed into the MCU if Sony approves his use and the script as well. Sony, however, retained the rights to cast and also reboot the Spider-Man franchise, but interestingly enough, the studios keep their own profits from their own movies. So Sony from Homecoming and Marvel from Civil War. Hence why we had Spider-Man in Civil War, and we've also got Iron Man debuting in the upcoming Homecoming movie. Sony gets to use Marvel characters and Marvel gets to use Spider-Man, and therefore Homecoming is actually going to be considered part of the MCU, however it's still a Marvel movie. Personally, I think that this move was fantastic. I think it benefited both studios, but also more than anything the fans. I mean, it was great to see Spider-Man alongside the Avengers, and that airport scene, it's a fantastic scene. Homecoming, again, obviously that's on its way out, and personally, I know the other guys at ATG as well, we cannot wait to see this. The trailer itself is fantastic, you know, seeing the little references to the MCU, and obviously the cameo from Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr., is fantastic, and that scene, swing and fly along together, awesome. So that in a nutshell covers why we don't see certain characters in certain movies. I hope that's kind of brought you up to speed and filled you in. There's so much more on the internet about various different studios, and obviously the actual legal battle about Spider-Man as well. So if you really are interested, I suggest you have a look. Now if any of my facts are wrong, then please drop a comment below and let me know the difference, but this was what I knew to be true about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and we'll catch you soon.